All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Says you too, is Pastor Dow. Got an opportunity, chance to get a little bit of rest here, but I want to continue to talk on what I talked on the last night on Blog Talk Radio, which is in my heart. And I really truly don't know how to say this going forth, even though I say it. It's just a tough thing to try to convey and get over. And words at times seems to be so inadequate. We're watching the war drums getting ready to beat again. Matter of fact, they are beating right now. We're seeing that, America, along with the rest of these nations, that they have the Middle East in their scope, in their crosshairs. And there's a reason for this. And don't make no mistake about it. When it's all said and done, the powers that be are only after one thing and one thing alone, and that's Jerusalem. I know most people want to ignore the battle, ignore the fight. They don't seem to think that it's between Yah and Satan. But when it's all said and done, that's what it's all about. I'm interested in the preservation, the self-preservation of the people. I've been following Syria heavy. I've been following the Greeks heavy. I'm sitting up there watching people, literally livelihood just literally ripped away from them. There's times in the past that I've given direction, trying to tell people what to do, and I don't want you to get hasty in spirit. I really truly don't want you to get hasty in spirit, but I want you to really truly pay attention to what I'm saying. If you don't do something to try to secure even just a little piece of land, like maybe even a quarter of an acre somewhere, and try to maybe have like a travel trailer or something like that on it, a lot of people in this country is going to be refugees. And I just saw the same thing happen over there in Greece, where you had people who had worked all their life, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years, paid 20 years on a home, 25 years on a home, and just literally had it snatched away because the job isn't there no more. The retirements are not there no more. The IRAs are not there no more. They're not even paying, I don't even believe, Social Security is. I mean, the country's just literally turned upside down. And when you look at the fundamentals of the United States of America, we're not no better. As a matter of fact, we're worse off. And the only reason why we don't feel the pain that the rest of the world is feeling is because, the U.S. dollar is the world reserves currency. And we're dictating and mandating economic policy all across the earth. And we're watching all the other nations print money just like we are to oblivion, driving down the cost of goods and services and their economy. And so since we have a printing press, it puts forth an illusion of prosperity, and we seem to think that we're going to continue to keep on kicking this proverbial can down the road. But the chickens are coming home to roost, and the pain is going to be really bad. I mean, you think that we've all felt pain before in our lives in certain situations and circumstances, but we've never felt pain before, like a country turned upside down to where there's a world without rule of law, and people have not thought out in advance to think about the things that they need to be doing and the things they should be thinking about of doing in order to prepare for the future. Because we most of us, our lives are centered and focused on now. Many of us are not trained to actually look out into the future, peer out into the future, and try to gauge what it's going to look like. And sometimes we can gauge what it's going to look like, but it's too painful for us to look at and deal with right now. But I can tell you right now that if you don't do it, then who's going to do it? If you do not wake up and make a way, then who's going to make a way? If you yourself do not take action, then who's going to take action for you? I mean, these are answers to questions. These are questions, and they have to have answers. The answers must come. They must come. And you're the only one that can answer, because you can't depend on the person next to you. You can't depend on the family that lives with you. You simply just can't depend on a lot of people to actually implement these things and do the things for you. And I'm not right now. I remember I used to talk about big acreages of land and all this other stuff, but time is running short. And I'm not trying to make you hasty in spirit, nor trying to put fear upon you to try to make you move with fear, because if you're moving with fear, that type of fear, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and your mistakes are going to be costly, and we don't need that right now. We need soundness of mind, and you need to really try to find out those who are for you, if you understand what I mean. A lot of people say they are, but they're really truly not. They're usually for themselves. Because the last thing you want in a situation where you have worldwide rule of law and you're trying to get together what you call mutual assistance group, you don't want any selfish people around you. I don't care. You're going to have to be the one to determine if those people are selfish or not, because a selfish person will destroy a camp. Just one of them will literally destroy a camp. And I tell you what, we're in some times. We're in some times. Let me. I know many of you don't ascribe to reading the Bible and all that other stuff, but let me end this right here on some wisdom right here. Let me go over here to Ecclesiasticus, and let me show you what the wisdom of the word says. I'm gonna be in Ecclesiasticus, and I'm using the Apocrypha right here for a second, and I'm gonna read you something right here. This is wisdom right here. All right, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And I'm gonna read verses 4 and 5 of chapter 26. Listen to this. Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards the Lord, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. Now, listen to verse 5. Listen very closely. There be 3 things that my heart feareth, and for the 4th I was sore afraid. 3 things. This is what he says. Number 1, look, the slander of a city. Look at this. The gathering together of an unruly multitude. See, both of these we're already facing right now. And then look at this. Look at this. A false accusation. Man, who's not doing that nowadays? Think about that. Who's not falsely accusing people? Who are not eyewitnesses to accounts and who are just out there just putting out false accusations and false witness and bearing false witness all over the place and giving strength to the people that do it. Whew. You remember Core, Dathan, and Abiram? And their end, that's going to be a lot of people's end. But look at this one right here. Look at this. All these are worse than death. Man, all of these are worse than death. And death is pretty bad. You understand what I mean? And death comes to us all. But all these are worse than death. Whew. See, that is some heavy stuff right there. That's some heavy wisdom right there. I hope you take heed to what's being said and start making preparations. Even if you just start going to the store and buying 1 can of food to be able to put up into the place that you may have. You may, 2 or 3 of you may need to get together and just try to buy a 1/4 acre of land and put maybe get two travel trailers or something. Because we're facing rough times, and I know that many of you don't see it, but we're facing rough times. I hope that I've said something to hopefully stimulate your thought and mind. Don't get comfortable in those cities. Those are the last place you want to be. You remember what it just got finished saying? The slander of a city. And I tell you, you don't want to be caught in those cities. So when you hear me telling people to get out of the cities, I'm not telling you that because I want you to be inconvenienced. I'm telling you that because for your own good. Just think for a moment. What are those cities going to be like when there's no law enforcement, when people are lawless, and there's no rule? There's no rule anymore. The human nature will go into a very savage attitude. And it's going to be every man, every woman, and every child for themselves. You're going to see families even forsaking each other just in order to survive. And it's going to be ugly. Pastor Dow, you're painting a very grim picture. I wish I could paint a picture to where I could tell you that everything's going to be fine. We have some type of utopia. But if I did that, I'd be lying to you. And I'm not going to do that.